So, what is the future of learning? That's the question my classmates and I have been working through for the past several months. And so, to help me answer this question, I decided I was going to enlist the help of a group of high school students from the United States. My dad's a high school teacher at Mason High School in the US, and several of those students offered to help me out with this. I basically wanted to know a few things from them. I wanted to know what they wanted to graduate with. So when they leave Mason High School and they go out into the world or into university, I wanted to know what skills they wanted to take with them, what was most important. I also wanted them to think through some of the questions that we had been thinking through. So I wanted to know what they thought classrooms would look like, how teachers and students would interact. Would the internet and various technologies be implemented into classrooms, and would testing look different because of that? Basically, I wanted current teenagers who are in high school right now to tell me what they could imagine their environments looking like in the future. So here are some of their thoughts.
I think you need to learn how to be able to deal with real life situations and um, events that aren't necessarily expected. You need to learn how to get along with people that um, necessarily don't like or are a generation ahead or below. You need to
Is being able to do daily type things that every adult does, like paying taxes and bills and learning how to manage their lives.
Is how to problem solve, how to figure out what a problem is in a situation, and to be able to brain brainstorm ways to fix it and change it so that you can fix a problem, because you're going to face problems your whole life, and you need to be able to know how to get yourselves out of those problems.
Just knowing how to learn, how to study, and how to take notes and understand stuff is super important. Even in jobs, I feel like just being able to pick up something really quick.
Is adaptability. Being able to move from situation to situation and change how you're thinking on the fly. Like when you're transitioning from class to class, you're changing subjects, you're adapting, you're readapting to your situation.
So, hearing the students' answers to the questions of what skills they'd like to graduate with was interesting because most of their answers coincided with the responses our class gave when we talked through these essentials. The ability to adapt, to problem solve, to engage and interact with people cross generationally. And you also hear them mention the practical things like how to do taxes. I think all of those are essentials and they will be a large part of educational environments of the future. However, I think the way in which they're taught will look much different. Maybe they'll have grannies in the cloud interacting with them and teaching them how to communicate cross-generationally. Or maybe learning how to do taxes will happen with an actual trial online where they submit taxes. Maybe their classrooms will have virtual reality screens that will allow them to make their way through changing environments and forcing them to learn adaptability. With technology, the ideas are endless. It will just come down to the slow process of transforming educational policies to allow for this kind of outside thinking. With changes to policy, I think the future of education is going to shift from rote memorization tests of the past to real-world scenarios and practical skill-building exercises. And I think that that will create a generation of adults who are passionate about learning because it's become so closely integrated with technology, and because of that, it's more fun.
I think high school in the future will be very technology based. I think that kids will have very minimal resources and everything will be online. All their books, all of their papers, assignments, everything will be online. Teachers might even record themselves as their homework and they have to go watch it and type something, because I don't think papers will be required writing anymore. And I think a lot of kids might have to have a laptop or an iPad or something in the future.
I don't know. I don't think they'll be too much different from what they're like now. I mean, obviously all the technology will be advanced, but I think we'll still have a teacher that goes up and tells us how we are supposed to do stuff. They teach us what we need to learn to get by in life.
I think they will be focused more on the internet and maybe even not in a conventional classroom sense.
I think it'll be a lot more integrated and kind of a combination of online mixed with teachers there to help you understand other things that maybe you can't learn online.
I think classrooms will be very technologically driven. I feel like there's still going to be a lot of student-teacher interaction, but it's going to be more independent. I feel like high school classrooms are going to look more like colleges.
I can see that in some classes we might go to a website and do our exams there, but I don't think they're gonna. I think that they'll definitely keep us, pretty tight, because can't let you go and just look up all the answers to your exams, because with that, then we don't know if you're learning anything.
So probably not, but it's possible if they could figure out a way to make it impossible to cheat.
I don't think we'll ever be able to use the internet for exams, just because that seems kind of crazy. Like, you have the cheat answer things. I don't know, maybe it will, but I don't feel like you can.
So to be fair, I kind of set the students up with this question because they had no knowledge of souls or how they work. So their only background for how to answer this was the environment that they're in right now, which would never allow for open internet exams. However, their responses are so similar to what I first thought when the course started. The idea of having an open internet exam is crazy. It's cheating. People would use the internet and find all of the answers. It doesn't make sense. But when you think about it and you get to know souls and the idea of having big questions, particularly one that the internet or a teacher can't just give the answer to, you're starting to force students to use their resources. And then they have to figure out how to answer it. So you're testing their critical thinking and their ability to improvise and to aggregate information to figure out what's useful. So I do think that the future of learning is going to need to focus more on the comprehension of information instead of just the memorization of it.
Minimal. I think that if stuff is online, instead of asking like a teacher a question, you're just gonna go look it up and find the answers on your own, which can be helpful at some point because you have to learn how to do stuff on your own instead of relying on a teacher, but you can't just rely on the internet as well.
Yeah, but not with all subjects. I'd have trouble with some of them.
Tell me why.
Because some of them I need help with, and I ask the teachers for help a lot, especially subjects that are not as easy for me. But a subject like math, which I'm better at, I could learn on my own a lot easier.
I think the internet will definitely be a useful skill, or like a useful thing to have in the classroom, of course. I think there should still be an instructor, but just a lot less like interaction. Like only if you really can't figure something out or you need more guidance, then maybe the instructor would be more involved.
Yeah, I can see myself learning a lot through the internet. I used to. I was homeschooled for a long time. A lot of stuff I didn't understand, I had to look up and learn on my own. So I'm used to that kind of learning, and I feel like it truly helped me, and it should be the future of learning. Learning on your own at your own pace, taking information in, how you take it in.
So I love what the last student says, commenting that students should be learning at their own pace and their own time and taking in information in a way that they can understand. Ultimately, I think that's the goal, to have schools, in whatever form they may take, that can be a place where learning is occurring because the learner is invested and interested. This course has taught me to see the merit in teaching students in non-traditional ways. I was really skeptical of Dr. Mitra's soul idea, but with time, I'm coming to understand that our world, particularly in regards to technology, is transforming much faster than our educational environments are keeping up with. Eventually, I think this should change. I think technology and new approaches to learning will help keep kids engaged and invested in the learning process instead of just allowing them to pass grade after grade by memorizing and regurgitating information. My favorite part about watching those clips and hearing the thoughts of the current teenagers is that I had many of the same thoughts and feelings over this course. I would love to run a soul with these students and then ask them these questions again. How would their opinions change if they began to think about learning as a place for exploration and discovery instead of as a test of rote memorization skills? Ultimately, I think the way education will look in the future will depend largely on policy changes. My hope is that the future includes various combinations of learning environments. I'm not ready to let go of the importance of teaching literacy and numeracy in the traditional sense, but I think the integration of new emerging technologies and the shift to less teacher intervention and more self-guided student learning has its merits. All in all, I'm really excited for what's ahead in the realm of education. I think this generation is in a place to make significant changes to the current landscape, and I think it will transform our world for the better.